All right, social studies today. You're going to need to get out the Chapter 6, Lesson 2 note-taking sheet. We're going to go over that first. Okay, that was yesterday's assignment. You were also supposed to submit it, so if you submitted it, it should be in Notability somewhere. You can pull it up and add notes to it. Okay, if you did it on paper, get the paper out, you can add notes that way. Either way, I need the chart out. Okay? Yes.
Yesterday, I noticed on Wednesday night, I forgot to bring home my folder, and so I did it on Notability.
So pull it up on Notability. You got yours? Yours out?
Yeah, I did.
Papers, I see. Not on Notability? Well, you submitted it too, so. Oh, there you go. So I would jot notes on if I need to. Where's yours? In a notebook or something. If you don't have it, add notes to it, or if you can't add to it. What's that? I would jot some things down right now, so we're gonna go over it, okay? All right. So up here on the board, I didn't rewrite all the questions. You can see those. I just put the page numbers so you know which spot to put it. Okay, and I'll write some notes up here that we need to make sure we're writing down, or we have included on our chart for that, for this lesson. Well, it might be helpful if you want, or if you're just looking at your note sheet, which hopefully you have that done. Otherwise, yeah, you're gonna wanna pull up the story or the information. So our first question was pages 234 and 235. And it was asking you, who are the mix of people and how do they affect the middle colonies? So how are they mixed? Like, what do they mean by mix of people? How did it affect those colonies? Maya? You don't have to name all of them. You can give us a few. Okay, lots of them, right? Dutch, Irish. So what did the book call that? We have all this mix of people. What did they say about those colonies? Go ahead, Maya. They were. What else? What else can you tell me, Juliana?
I think they were called Quakers.
They might have been. I think it mentions they're mostly Dutch, right? And immigrants. The vocab word I'm looking for. What did they call this? What did this group of people, because there were so many different types and groups of people, cultures you're bringing together. What was going on in those middle colonies, Sean?
Diversity.
What was it again? Diversity. They were very diverse, right? All of these people were coming from different places. So mostly Dutch and immigrants from different places. Made those middle colonies very diverse. So what do you think is diverse? What do you think is very different? What do you think they have a lot of variety of? Let's elaborate on that a little more. Sean?
Churches, but there are a lot of religions.
Good. Lots of different religions. Would be making it diverse. What else? Adam? Different languages. Might be bringing in different dialects or different languages, different ways of speaking. What else makes an area diverse? Juliana?
Different clothing.
Different clothing, sure. Different types of clothing. Okay. Adam? Different foods, right? Language, food, religion, clothing, all of those things are going to be very different here in the middle colonies. Okay? Because they have so many different people from so many different areas. Okay? That's what makes America today America, right? We have lots of variety, lots of different things. Okay? That's what makes us unique. Anything else to add to that first question? Who are the mix of people and how do they affect the middle colonies? Something else you wrote down that you want to share? Okay, those of you watching, if you have something to share, please post it on updates so we can see that. Let's go to our next question. On page 236, I was talking about the Great Awakening. What is the Great Awakening? And then they talk about some people that led that particular movement. Josh?
What is the Great Awakening?
Yeah.
A movement that renewed money, people interest in religion.
Yeah, so it renewed people's interest in religion. Renewed interest in religion. So let's go back to this diversity before we get to the who. Why do you think there might be a renewed interest with the diversity? Why do you think that, Sean?
Maybe because lots of different people are coming in from different places.
Okay, and what's that going to provide all of these people?
A lot of different religions.
Options, right? Where if they were Puritans and living in the northern colonies, the New England colonies, they were kind of limited, right? They were almost forced to believe in just one religion. Where here, they might think, oh, this could be interesting. I'm going to look into this. Okay, if you have more options, you might be willing, right, to become involved again. So here you had this movement where people were becoming more interested in the religions that were being offered. Who were some leaders that they mentioned in the book? John?
George Whitefield,
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Edwards.
Yep, George Whitefield and Jonathan. Right, it was Jonathan, not just John. Jonathan Edwards.
Yep.
All right, that's what I thought I heard. There we go. So those were the two people that kind of led this movement, this Great Awakening movement. Okay, you're gonna want those names down if you didn't write the names down.
I forgot to write Jonathan.
Well, add it in there. Okay, that's why we're doing this. You can go over and add it in. So here's the definition of what the Great Awakening was, and these are the two people that we need to keep in mind. Anything else for that second one on page 236? Sean, you have something else to add? No, we're good, John?
For like the first part, not like for whom, but I said the way many people practice their religion.
For the 236, like that was changing how they practiced? Yeah, which is true. Yep, there were different ways, different interests, different ways of practicing their religion. Sure, and that's why people wanted to, or started coming back to religion, because of the new ways and the different things that they were able to do. Okay, good. All right. That takes us to 237, religion and social life. What was religious and social life like in the Middle Colonies? So in the New England colonies, we know that a lot of the Puritans, right, everything led to religion. Work, okay, the way they lived, the way they worked, what they did in their free time, all of that was based on religious beliefs. How was that maybe different in the Middle Colonies, John?
Religion also changed the way people view one another because of their religious beliefs.
Okay.
Some colonists thought enslaving Africans was wrong.
Very good. Changed views of how, did you say how they treat each other?
How they treat each other because of their religion.
Okay, how they treat each other, good. Based on religion. And I'm gonna also add in that you mentioned too that they felt enslaving people was not right, correct? It was what?
It was some colonists thought enslaving Africans was wrong.
Okay. So we'll put that too. Some. Wait. There we go. Colonists. We're gonna say enslavement was wrong. Kind of a general, right? So anybody, they thought any kind of, because they were also, remember at this time, Native Americans and Africans were both being enslaved, right? Okay, so they're leaning towards, here in these middle colonies, we start to see that change of not so much. And who led that belief? Who was a big believer in treating everybody fair and with justice? Who was that? Josh, you remember his name?
William Penn.
William Penn. So we see that movement with him and leading into all of these other colonies where he's believing that people should all be treated equally, right? And with fairness. Okay, good. Other things for that third one? No, we're good? All right. Oh, go ahead, Sean.
Is it Benjamin Franklin an inventor?
We're getting to him. He's on our last question.
Wait, he's in this?
He was. Did you read the lesson?
I think so.
He was on the last page.
No, I thought. Wait, this? How? What year? Like, he's that old? He was alive in that? I thought.
Yeah.
I thought he was like a little younger than George Washington.
He might have been, but
George Washington was born in the
George
1700s.
Washington will be. Yeah, we learn about him here pretty soon too. All right, let's keep going. So the last question asks, how did Philadelphia grow and who helped it grow? So who's the who on this one?
Benjamin Franklin.
Right, Ben Franklin did a lot of helping with growing these colonies. So we need to write his name down. Ben Franklin.
Benjamin.
What did he do? How did he help it grow? Nick?
He invented stuff.
More than that. It was more than that. Jackson? Yep, he set up hospitals and volunteer, or we could just say fire stations, right? No, we'll say volunteer. Volunteer fire stations. So some of the first fire stations and hospitals were set up by Ben Franklin in his colony, or in Philadelphia. What else, John?
Also, William Penn designed the most important town with white sheets and gold his space to work and relax.
I'm looking here. So he planned governments and settlements, right? Most important town. Oh, streets and parks. Is that what you're looking at?
Yes.
All right. Good. So I'm just going to put his last name. Penn designed. I think they use the word planned. I'm going to use the word designed. Streets and parks. So here we start to see some, you might call it modernization then, right? They were creating these streets, parks, hospitals, fire stations, all things that we are used to, right? We find those just as common things we expect in a town or a place that we go to. Okay, Riker?
Is our playground technically a park?
I would just call it a playground. It's not really necessarily a,
Parks are more like those things with trails.
so like a park, I feel like, yeah, like when I think park, I think trails and some playground, maybe picnic tables.
Central Park.
Yeah, I think more like that kind of stuff. Where public might congregate as opposed to just where you'd have it for a school building.
A school.
Okay. John?
Are we gonna do the essential?
We're getting there.
Oh,
Okay. Anything else for the last one on Ben Franklin and how Philadelphia grew? Good? All right. So that bottom part there said to write a three to four sentences answering the essential question, which was posted up there at the very top in bold print of the paper. And it says, why did settlers come to the middle colonies? Well, think about all of this information we just read. Why would they want to come? What would attract somebody to this particular area? Juliana?
Can I name all three of it?
What's that?
Can I name all three of it?
Yeah, go ahead.
So some people came to the colonies to start a new life.
Good. Started a new life.
Some came to escape from war.
Okay.
And for like opportunity.
Good. Opportunities, right? A new life. Some were escaping wars that were happening maybe in their countries. Remember, the opportunities include a lot of freedoms here where William Penn was at. All right? We're seeing them build these things down here. Those might encourage people to come. Okay? variety of religions and cultures and foods and all those things we talked about. Okay, so all of this information here kind of leads us to why they would want to come to the Middle Colonies. Anything else you have we might have missed? Nick?
No, well, I have a question.
Sure.
Like, who does it say who built all of this?
Who built it?
Like, yeah, was it like one person that?
I'm sure lots of people helped to build these things. They just kind of designed and got them set up. I don't think it tells us specifically who.
Does it say who
The colonists that were there and had that kind of information or knowledge. Okay? All right. Today, you have two things you're going to do. You have a new chart posted for lesson 3. Okay? Notice, you ready?
Yes.
The essential question didn't change, and the summary stays the same as well. It's asking you to write some sentences based on the essential question, but I want the information to come from this chapter now, or this lesson now. Okay? What things in this lesson would attract colonists to the Middle Colonies? Okay? So don't tell me the same things you did for here. I want some different things. Okay? For that lesson 3 note-taking sheet. It's posted on Schoology. Some of you will have the option for paper. You can print it out, so we can do it there. Trying to remember if I have you submit it. I don't think I have you submit the lesson 3 one. We'll go over the lesson 3 one tomorrow. Okay, and then you also have,
So you don't want us to do that?
no, I'll double check, but I don't think I have you submitting it.
Don't you mean Monday? Not
Monday, yes, Monday. You also have a 6-2 worksheet for social studies on Schoology.
I'm gonna do the 6-2 worksheet first.
Let me double check my chapter 3, lesson 3.
Wait, so we have 2 things.
So you have 2 things to do. You're reading lesson 3 and answering these 4 questions. And you're also going to answer the lesson, or the 6-2 worksheet on Schoology.
There's 11.
Is it the WKB?
So say 6-2?
Yep.
There you go. Let me check on lesson 3. Oh, I do have you submitting it. So you're going to submit the lesson 3 note-taking sheet as well. Okay, so you should have submitted lesson 2 yesterday. You're going to submit lesson 3. So 2 things, lesson 3 note-taking sheet, and you have to submit it, Brendan. Okay? Set up to submit and the 6-2 worksheet. It doesn't matter to me which way you do it. I would do 6-2 first,
Yeah.
while lesson 2 is fresh in my mind. Then I would go read a new lesson. Okay? And that's it for social studies.